Good afternoon, students. Let us begin session number 6, Introduction to English Studies, Unit 2, Literary Terms and Linguistic Competence, prescribed for first semester option English students, Tumkur University. This is the extended part of session 5 on concepts for understanding fictional narratives. So, in the last video, we learned about some concepts of fictional narratives like story, plot, narrative structures, and narrative techniques. We will move further with some new concepts to understand fictional narratives like setting, characterization, flashback, and foreshadowing techniques. So, the key elements of any fictional narratives are characters. Fictional characters are brought to life through their actions, dialogue, and interactions with other characters. So, characterization is one important technique to develop a fictional narrative. Plot, as we have learnt, is a sequence of events in a story including exposition, rising action, climax, falling action, and resolution. So, setting in fictional narratives refers to the time and place where the story unfolds. We will deal with it in this session in detail. The themes of a story are the underlying message or idea that the author is explaining, and points of view are the perspectives from which the story is told, whether it is the first person, second person, or third person narratives. So, some fictional narratives can be divided based on genres. For example, there may be some fictional narratives based on realistic fiction, like E.M. Foster's A Passage to India, or it may be a science fiction, like The Hunger Games and Skyward, fantasy narratives like Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stones, adventure fiction narratives like Treasure Island, and detective fiction like Study in Scarlet. So there may be variety of themes, genres in fictional narratives. Now let us move on to the concept of setting. So setting in literature refers to the time and place where the story is told. It encompasses not only the physical location but also the broader context of the story's world. It includes the social, cultural, and historical elements, and it is a crucial element that helps establish the mood, develop characters, enhance the conflict, and drive the plot. So, setting in a narrative writing refers to the time and place. Authors use setting as a narrative technique. Setting provides context. It helps to understand the background and environment of the story. It will reveal the historical period, the geographical location, social environment, and psychological state of characters. It creates the atmosphere and mood for the reader. For example, a dark and gloomy castle creates a sense of suspense and unease, wherein a sunny beach evokes feelings of joy and relaxation. The place refers to the geographical location where the story takes place. It can be a real place or a fictional world or a combination of both. Time in setting refers to the historical period, time of the day, season, and even the character's lifetime. A story could be set in the past, present, or future, or even jump between different times and periods. Another aspect of setting is the environment. This includes the physical landscape, the climate, weather, social and cultural surroundings that provide the backdrop for the story. So, what is the function of a setting in literature? It gives the mood and atmosphere for the play. It can create a particular mood or atmosphere, and it helps the reader to perceive the story. A dark and stormy night might create a sense of suspense, and a sunny beach might evoke feelings of relaxation and happiness. So, setting also influences the characters, personalities, actions, and relationships. For example, a character raised in a rural environment might have different values and perspectives than someone raised in a city. So, the setting drives the plot. It can influence the events of the story, it will drive the narrative, it can become a catalyst for conflict. It helps to develop the plot, it provides challenges, obstacles, or opportunities for the characters. So, a realistic setting reflects the social and economic conditions of the time and the place. A fantastical setting gives unique and imaginative opportunities that transport the reader to other worlds. So, setting is not just a backdrop in a story, it is a powerful narrative technique. And authors use it to enhance the reader's experience and deepen their understanding of the narrative. Setting will also help to explore the themes and ideas within the story. For example, a story set in a dystopian society might explore themes of oppression and resistance. So, this is about setting. Setting is the location or place and time in which the story is set. The other element of fictional narrative is characterization. Characters make stories come to life. They focus on the creation of fictional characters. Characterization means developing characters. Characters are developed from their physical appearance to their personality based on their views and actions. So, characterization is also known as character development. How a writer develops the character based on their physical appearance, based on their personality, based on their views, and based on their actions is termed as characterization. Characters help us to feel connected to the story. The writer should take care that they should be authentic and relatable. That is, someone must believe the character as if we have met him in real life. So we come across a hero in a narrative, a villain, or a supporting characters. So every character is developed based on five characters. They are physical description. If a character is dumb, or deaf, or he has some physical disability, that will be an indicator of his physical description. What he does, his action, is he a king or is he a robber or is he a local traveler or something, any action, what he does, it also defines the character. The inner thoughts, is he introvert, extrovert, is he bold, is he adventurous, what are his inner thoughts, inner opinions about the people around him, about the environment in which he lives. That also describes the character. His reactions to situations, his responses, his ability to react and respond also define the character. And the way he speaks, is he a person of with a native accent or is he a person of uh, sophisticated accent? It depends. How he speaks defines the character. So we can remember it with this acronym pairs: P for physical description, A for action, I for inner thoughts, R for reactions, and S for speech. So whenever you are reading a fictional narrative, please try to understand the character with the help of these five characters, five ways in which he can be described. So characters can be round or flat. So what is a round character? Round characters are complex and they are unique. They are very rare. We are not able to understand them so easily. Whereas flat characters are one dimensional. With a limited personality, they have limited individuality. We can easily understand such characters. Whenever you are reading a novel, a short story, or any fictional narrative, go through the character and try to analyze whether it is round or flat. Carl Jung has proposed that there were 12 patterns or archetypes that define human characters. Human characters can be demarcated by these archetypes. So he can be a character can be a caregiver, can be a creator, explorer, hero, jester, lover, magician, can be an orphan, rebel, ruler, or a sage. He can be any one of these characters. He can display those patterns or archetypes which Jung has proposed. So any fictional narrative has such type of characters. Characterizations can be direct or indirect. In direct characterization, the author directly describes a character's qualities. In Charles Lamb's novels, you can easily understand that each character is directly described by the writer himself. Whereas in indirect characterization, rather than explicitly describing a character's qualities, the author shows the character as he or she moves through the world of the fiction. His dialogues with strangers, his conversation with his friends reveals his character. So the author allows the reader to infer the character's qualities from his or her behavior. This is also called implicit characterization. So characters can be revealed directly by the author, or the author expects the reader to infer from his behavior. That is implicit or indirect characterization. So characterization has to do with the physical appearance, his actions, inner thoughts, reactions, and speech of the character. And it can be revealed either directly or implicitly. So, whenever you are reading a short story, try to look into the characters and help Help yourselves to understand it based on identifying these patterns or archetypes. The next narrative technique is points of view, which I had told you in the last session. Narrative point of view refers to the voice the story is written. Who is speaking? Who is speaking in the story? The author chooses who is to tell the story, and he determines whose point of view should be used to narrate the story. So, points of view refers to the perspective that the narrator holds in relation to the events of the story. Point of view is important because it helps the reader understand the character's feelings and actions. It refers to who is telling the story. If in a story of a rich man and a poor man, if the rich man is narrating the story, his version of analyzing is different from the poor man's point of view. So, point of view matters while understanding fictional narratives. There are some very important techniques to understand a fictional narrative. One such is a flashback technique. So, a flashback in literature is an instance that takes place before the story begins. Some events have taken place before the story and they interpret the chronological order of the plot. That is called flashback. Flashback disrupts the linear flow of the narrative. If the author is narrating a story in a chronological order, immediately a character may appear and begin to tell the story in a flashback mode. He takes the reader to a different point of time. They reveal details about the character's past, his relationships in the past, or significant events that shape their present actions and motivations. So, flashbacks can be triggered by sensory details like sights, sounds, smells, or even by characters' thoughts. A character immediately remembers his past when he is triggered by the sight of some sunset or waves of an ocean, etc. There are internal flashbacks which involve a character remembering the past events, and external flashbacks which are direct recounting of past events. He internally remembers, that is internal flashback. He begins to tell about the past events, that is external flashbacks. So, authors use flashbacks to add depth to characters. They create suspense, they foreshadow future events, they tell what may happen in the future, or they provide crucial information to the reader which help him to understand the story. So, flashbacks are valuable tools for writers to enrich their stories by adding depth, context, and emotional resonance through the exploration of past events. So, flashback is a narrative technique. Let us explore some examples of flashbacks. Okay, Homer in his The Odyssey, the hero Odysseus recounts his adventures to the Phaeacians, providing flashbacks to his journey home after the Trojan War. So, Homer is the poet. He asks Odysseus to recount his adventure as a flashback in his journey back home after the Trojan War. Another novel, The Great Gatsby by Scott Fitzgerald, uses flashbacks to reveal Gatsby's past with Daisy, his wealth accumulation, and his motivations. So, if you read any story or a novel, try to find such examples wherein the character go back in particular point of time and try to narrate the events in the past. In Harper Lee's To Kill a Mockingbird, Scott's narration is largely a flashback to her childhood in Macomb, Alabama, allowing readers to understand present day events and characters through her memories. Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte also has many flashbacks. For example, Nellie Dean, she is a third person narrative who acts as a frame for gives a frame for the story with flashbacks, revealing the complex relationships and events between the Earnshaws and the Lintons. So, flashback techniques help understand the characters much better and they drive the plot. In Arthur Miller's Death of a Salesman, Willy Loman's internal monologues and interactions with his past often manifest as flashbacks. They reveal Willy Loman's mental state and the source of his conflicts. So, flashback is a narrative technique which help to deepen the plot and move the story towards its resolution. Another narrative technique used by writers is foreshadowing. Foreshadowing involves clues or hints. They can be either direct or indirect. These clues are about events that will happen later in the story. These hints can be subtle and easily missed at first, but their significance becomes clear as the story progresses. So, there are clues which are given at the beginning of the story. For example, in William Shakespeare's Macbeth, in the opening scene itself, we understand that this play is about the calm and storm in the life of Macbeth. So, the hints given foreshadow the future events of the story. There can be direct foreshadowing or indirect foreshadowing. In direct foreshadowing, the author explicitly states that something will happen, like in the prologue of Romeo and Juliet, where it is revealed that the lovers will die. That is example for direct foreshadowing. In indirect foreshadowing, the author uses symbols, setting, dialogue or character actions to hint at future events. So it requires the reader to interpret these clues. He should be intelligent enough to understand these clues and the significance of them in revealing the secrets of the play, of the story narrative. So, foreshadowing is used to build suspense, create tension, it enhances the narrative, connects events, and develop themes. For example, if there is a sudden change in weather, like a dark storm, cloud rolling in, it might foreshadow a conflict or dramatic event. In Shakespeare's Julius Caesar, before Caesar's death, the whole climate of the nature changes. It foreshadows his death. In conclusion, foreshadowing is a powerful literary device that authors use to create a more engaging and meaningful reading experience by subtly hinting at future events and their consequence. Let us now understand foreshadowing better with some examples. In Ernest Hemingway's A Farewell to Arms, Catherine's fear of the rain, which symbolizes death in the novel, foreshadows her death in childbirth. So she is afraid of rain. That repeated pattern symbolizes or foreshadows her death. In Sophocles' Oedipus Rex, the prophecy that Oedipus will kill his father and marry his mother foreshadows the play's tragic events. That is a clue given by the author for the reader to understand the future consequences or the final resolution of the play. In Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, the mysterious Red Room foreshadows Jane's later struggles and the Gothic elements of the story. Dear students, in this unit, you'll be understanding certain concepts which will be beneficial for you to understand the texts prescribed in the later units, coming units. Unit 3, Unit 4 and Unit 5 are about prose, fiction and plays. And these Unit 1 and Unit 2 will help you to understand the concepts which will be referred in those texts. Hope you will enjoy this learning. Thank you.